Welcome to Food Allergy Friends. This session is talking a bit about celiac disease and gluten-free flours. And I'd like to welcome today Sally Black from Oast to Host. Hello, Sally.
Hello. Hi, nice to...
It's lovely to have you with us. Now, you make gluten-free flours and supply those to various companies and people across the country. Could you tell us a bit more about how you started making gluten-free flours?
Yeah, so about nearly 10 years ago, my business partner, Claire, and I had a market stall. We would go every other week. We had a format of tarts, so they were sweet and savoury tarts, essentially, which required a good pastry recipe. Claire started by making the regular tarts, and because I had a celiac daughter, I made everything I had to make was gluten-free, because if it didn't sell, we'd bring it home and we'd eat it. So that was the format, and it was very interesting. We were able to use the market as a shop window, and customers would come by and we would offer them something, not tell them it was gluten-free, and they were always very surprised when that was revealed. And it showed us that it was a delicious product, and it was completely, you would have no idea that it was gluten-free. And so we worked on the recipe a little bit, and then we entered 3 products into the Great Taste Award, and they all got awarded. And one of them was the ready-to-roll pastry. So we knew that we were onto a good thing, and we carried on, started making products for farm shops and delis and cafes and such, initially locally and then nationwide. And it was always a pastry that was the wow factor, because it just wasn't available. So then we started selling ready-to-roll pastry, which was great, but it had a short shelf life. And to get around that, we developed this pastry flour and a cake flour, because 2 products is better than 1. So that's how we got to the pastry. And we've been selling that online for a few years now, and we also sell it into manufacturing.
Okay, that's great. It's a bit of a story, isn't it? Starting with the market. That's lovely. So your
Yes.
daughter is a celiac. So perhaps you could tell us a bit about how old she was when she was diagnosed, and how you dealt with that with her growing up.
Yeah, she was actually only 14 months when she was diagnosed. And it was a real shock. I'd only ever heard the word once, and it was all very foreign to me. And yeah, gluten-free, gosh, my eyesight went downhill rapidly trying to read labels on the backs of packets and things. She was pretty poorly, but things did turn around, and it was okay. It was tricky to begin with, partly because I didn't know what I was doing, but also because there were limited products available. But being so young was an advantage both for her and me, because she didn't know what regular food tasted like. So we did what we could, and she was the youngest of 3, so the whole family had to take part in this, and some things would be completely gluten-free and some wouldn't. She'd have her own pasta, but we'd all have the same sauce, that sort of thing. She was very good. Parties were tricky. I'd always have to ring in advance to make sure that there was something available for her. And she'd go along with her in a little bag of goodies. And she was very accepting of that. It was difficult. Cakes were a problem because the party cake always looked so delicious. Then school, we were lucky with school because the cooks at school were, oh, this is fantastic, we need a challenge. And they did a marvelous job. And then she'd had some episodes at school, and it was questionable as to why, but on reflection, it does seem to be connected to the diet, which was very unfortunate for her. So she'd had these sort of fainting and fitting episodes. So the diet was crucial, and everyone knew that. And, you know, it's fine when she's in school, she's in a protected environment, she's, you know, they're herded and together. And then, of course, you've got university and the stresses and strains and drinking and being pulled in one direction and the other. And but the implications were such that she, you know, she knew that she had to keep things under control. And she's, yeah, all the way through, she's dealt with it very well. Then she went traveling and had some troublesome times there. So it's really not been easy for her. She's been hospitalized 2 or 3 times in some pretty remote places. So I think I struggle with how seriously people take it, which is why I think what you're doing is fantastic, because
thank you.
Stars need to be raised, and you know, it's not necessarily, you know, people's fault. They don't know. Why should they know what it's like to be a celiac? But you don't realize the implications until you witness it or experience it. And certainly in my daughter's case, you know, she's traveled with friends, and, you know, while they've been in London, she can go away and sit on the loo or double up with pain or whatever on her own. But when you're traveling and you know, you have a fit, and you're in the middle of nowhere and they have to deal with it, and they suddenly realize, actually, you know, this is absolutely crucial. And so they've seen it firsthand, and they have a very different outlook on it now. And she's been very brave about it, but that's a concern. You know, you wouldn't believe that booking a table is actually so nerve-wracking, because you have to trust the venue, you have to trust the staff. And as a child, we'd go into places and I'd be saying, that is gluten-free, isn't it? And which ones are gluten-free? And are you sure that the meringue is? Because I know in France they make meringue, they flour they used to flour the sheets, the baking sheets. So yeah, it can be an issue. Going out is a big deal for her. And if only restaurants would realize that actually, if they can offer a really wonderful gluten-free range, the celiac drives the party. And if they have a good time, everybody's going to go there. So, you know, there are big advantages for them. And staff, I don't know if I'm going too far, but it's education, and you need to be reassured. But she's with it very well.
Yes, this is what I've been finding with other people who have special dietary needs, whether it's celiac disease, allergy, or something else, and there are lots of other conditions out there. But going into a cafe or a restaurant and having that trust that they do know what they're doing. I don't know if you've ever found that other people within a group or other people that you've met might make light of it and say that they need gluten-free, but what they actually don't, whether that's helpful or not.
I think the lines have become so blurred, and you're absolutely right, that is a real problem. And for the staff, you know, whereas I would say, and then Victoria would say, you know, oh, I'm gluten-free. Now you have to say, I'm a celiac. You know, this isn't a lifestyle choice. This is a medical condition, and there are implications, and please get it right. So that's changed. And I think that's a really good, you know, it's been helpful for her. But it doesn't stop the concern. And I know when I've been in a restaurant with her, occasionally the waitress or waiter will say, yeah, oh, you're gluten-free. I'll just get my manager to come and help, or to talk you through things. So it's perfectly manageable to do, and that instills confidence, and that has to be a good thing, you know, for the venues. So yeah.
This is very true. Another message that we've been trying to get across to the hospitality industry is the fact that one person within a group will be the deciding factor of where they go. So having that confidence in the venue is absolutely vital for everybody, for the businesses, because it's good business sense, and for the customers, because they need to enjoy their time. It's a social, food is very social. Sociable.
That's right.
It's so important for people to get it right.
Yeah, and for my daughter, you know, she loves food. You know, it's great. And there is so much you can eat. I mean, obviously, trying to do things that aren't naturally gluten-free. So in terms of the pastry, and to make that as good as possible. But it is all possible, but it's education, and it is these blurred lines, gluten-free, are they a lifestyler or not? Everybody that says they're gluten-free, it needs to be taken very seriously, because they don't know what the implications are, and you're not going to stand there and tell them.
No, they don't want to know all the symptoms.
No, they don't.
They really don't. No. Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you. So would you like to tell us a bit about your award-winning products and your flowers, what they contain, and how and where people can get them?
Yeah, well, we've got, now we're doing these flowers. The pastry flower is a multi-award winning product. It has an award as a product for the food service industry, and the Future Food Awards. It does contain egg, but I'm working on changing that. It's just very successful. It's so easy. You can make it by hand very easily, or in a machine. We sell them in small packets online, and then we are trying to extend our offering into manufacturing, which we've started, and that's very exciting, because that means it's going to get to a lot more people. We feel that pastry-based products are poorly represented in terms of the quality and also the number of products available. So there's definitely a lot of scope for gluten-free pastry on the market. And there is very little out there because it's not an easy product. So we are educating people that actually it can be easy and it can be very successful. It's made up of a blend of rice, maize, potato. It does have xanthan in it, and egg white.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very clean recipe. There are no nasties in there. I mean, some people react to corn and others don't, but it's very successful. It's particularly good as a sweet product. It's very malleable. You can bake it, you could use it, you could actually make cake decorations with it. It's so pliable and it holds its shape in the oven. So it's there's a lot of fun to be had with it. And that's an area that can be looked at for us. There's a lot of sugar than icing, so you can make
That's
pastry decorations, and it holds colour. So there are all sorts of options there. It's a very versatile product. It makes into puff pastry, sweet short crust, plain short crust, savoury short crust. So obviously you've got all the cheese straws and the sausage roll. It also makes great crepe. Recipes online.
Wow, that's brilliant. Okay, so would you
and
like...
the cake flour is very versatile as well. That's got a bit of tapioca in it, rice, potato flour, xanthan, and it bakes into scones, blinis, straight pancakes. Oh gosh, all sorts of things. Shortbread.
It sounds like you could do loads and loads of things with it. So anything you could do with ordinary wheat flour, plus some.
Yes. Yeah, it's delicious. Great.
Lovely.
Successful. And in fact, we have people saying that they think it makes up into better cakes than regular flour, than the wheat flour that they've used. So it's highly recommended.
well done on the awards and the work you're doing. Would you just like to tell us your website address so that people can get access to your products?
Yeah, it's www.oasttohost.com. That's OASTTOHOST.com. The flowers are up there, currently in 2 sizes, and there are lovely storage tins, clip-lid storage tins, and there are recipes and ideas and information online as well.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much, Sally. That's great.